Hello, welcome to Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I'm your co-hostess who's decided to take a break between taking a drink and introducing herself, Drusilla Adeline. Hi, welcome,
Hi.
Josh.
There's a dog barking, and I can't do anything about it, so please enjoy the sounds of my neighbor's dogs barking.
Is he trying to court Edie's heart?
I don't think so. I don't think that this dog is aware of Edie.
Is this like a canine Shakespeare that's happening, like, right now outside of your window?
Well,
and you're just unwilling to accept it because you're a Capulet?
I feel like, not Romeo and Juliet, but I feel like the dogs in the neighborhood are very West Side Story coded because it's like they're like hoodlums. Like, so one dog starts... I live in a dead-end cul-de-sac. So one
You live in Silver Lake.
Yes, I do.
Hoodlums.
Well, but this is Echo Park. I will. But
Fair.
One dog, like across the street, will stop barking in the house, and then my neighbor's dog next to me starts barking, and they're all barking at each other like they're in some sort of like turf war, and it goes on and on and on, and you can't do anything about it. Like, I was a guest on a podcast this week, and they're like, "Oh, let's hold for dogs barking," and I was like, "You don't want to do that. We'll be here all day." Just can't. But really, the dogs are no match for the skunks who truly own this neighborhood. Like,
Skunk Street!
I swear to God, I see at least 2 skunks every single time I leave my apartment to walk the dog. Every time.
I'm sorry, Josh. All I'm hearing is a pitch for a children's animated show called Skunk Street.
Skunk Street is a great idea for a children's show.
Where the skunks rule the town, and the unruly dogs are causing trouble.
I think the skunks should be like a teenage, like, gang of punks, like street hoodlums. Yeah. I love that idea.
And one of them falls in love with a precious Italian greyhound princess who lives up in a high castle known as your apartment.
Like Pepe Le Pew style. Edie accidentally has a black stripe down her back because of paint or something, and then gets pursued by a horny skunk.
Let's fucking do it.
Let's go.
Get Steve Jones to voice one of the skunks.
That's such a good idea. What animal... I've gotten to a conversation about this once years ago with a friend. What animal do you think is the punkest animal? Because I think skunk is up there. I think
skunk
porcupine
is up there. Porcupine's probably up there. I think the punkest animal is like those fish that live in deep depths.
Oh, the anglerfish with the light?
Anglerfish, but also like fish that just like those ones like big deep jaws and look like fucking monsters.
Yeah.
There's a lot we haven't discovered down there. Yeah. Talk about fucking underground. Yeah. They kick ass.
Those are like metal even.
Yeah. Those are like grindcore.
Yeah. I think warthogs are very punk.
Yeah.
I think raccoons have a punk attitude.
Raccoons are a little like post-punk. Raccoons are like the Gang of Four of the animal kingdom.
Yeah, I hear that.
But they're also little trash monsters, so I don't know.
I love them so much. Anyway, that was a diversion. How are you?
I'm well. I am sleepy. I'm allergy-ridden, but I am well.
I feel the exact same way once again.
Yeah.
We're completely in sync, like women who live together. Our cycles have meshed. But it's for being sleepy.
Yes, it's for sleepy time. I don't know. I'm staying busy. I've got a lot of projects that I'm working on right now. And I've got a trip coming up. So I'm literally like in the middle of packing bags while also like sending out emails to clients and like wrapping up work here, starting projects here, planning a photo shoot here. And then also being like, well, I hope the rental car is squared away. So,
well, that's the good kind of busy, at least. You know, you're like doing creative things, you're making money, you're being productive, being a citizen.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Will you work from Indiana?
I'm going to try not to, but I will also have a laptop with me just in case.
It's real vacation.
The plan is vacation all I ever wanted. Vacation having to get away.
Yeah.
But sometimes emails happen, Josh.
I mean, I used to be an advertising producer, so I know that world very well. And I often had to send emails that were like, "Hi, I know that you're on your honeymoon in Greece, but can you please design this for me? The client wants it tomorrow."
Yeah. So we'll see. I've got, a handful of days in Indiana visiting family. And then my partner and I are driving down to South Carolina to visit her family and to do a lot of thrifting along the way. Should be a hoot and a half.
So is this the first time that you and Ivory meet each other's families?
She's met my mother.
Okay.
And that's basically all the family I have to a degree.
So,
So,
happy Father's Day, by the way.
By the way, happy Father's Day. We're recording this episode on Father's Day. So all of you with bad dads, cheers. It's our day.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad dads, I've been watching movies.
Oh, great.
New movies have come out into cinemas, limited cinemas, some. But on a bad dad special, there's a new Wes Anderson movie out.
Oh, yes. I can't wait to see it. You saw it?
I saw it yesterday morning at a 12:30 matinee, like a true American. And it's called Asteroid City, and it's a delight.
I can't wait.
I enjoyed The French Dispatch, but it wasn't something that I, loved, and it felt, like a minor work.
Slight. Yeah.
It felt slight.
Yeah.
And I did not care for Isle of Dogs, and so I was kind of like, oh no, where is Wes? Am I he was such a gateway for me getting into movies and to falling in love with so many different performers and finding other great filmmakers that I was like, are we living in an era where in Wes Anderson's flop era, what's going on?
Is he becoming the Tim Burton of our time? I mean, Tim Burton is the Tim Burton of
our time.
But it was his career doing a Tim Burton where
the self-parody, shallow,
Yeah.
Thankfully, Asteroid City proves that is not the case.
I've heard from many people that it's his best movie.
I would still say Tenenbaums in Budapest are tied for that honor. I would put this closer to Darjeeling Limited, Moonrise Kingdom, Rushmore, that tier of Wes Anderson movies, which are still fucking incredible movies.
Incredible, yeah. I love Rushmore especially.
But Asteroid City, the setup of it is that you are watching a black and white TV televised play being presented to you by Bryan Cranston as a 60s, 1950s TV presenter talking about, here's a fictitious play we have made up for the idea of showing you how a play is made. Oh. And here are all the actors out of character, and here is the playwright played by Edward Norton and all this stuff, and then they are going to put on for you this play called Asteroid City, and then it goes to widescreen Technicolor, and then you're in the world of the story. And so you keep jumping in and out of the narrative, and you see Jason Schwartzman as this begraggled,
who, by the way, has never been hotter.
He's so hot in this movie. He's so hot in this movie.
Crazy.
War photographer, widower, going with his 4 kids to a junior astronomer convention in the middle of the desert. And then you cut out and you're into black and white 133 again. And he's an actor going to soft-spoken playwright Edward Norton to get a part in Asteroid City as the It's so good, and it does such a good job of distilling its themes in so many different ways. The cast is, of course, it's a Wes Anderson movie, redonkulous.
Stacked.
There's obviously Jeff Goldblum and Willem Dafoe and people like that have Tilda Swinton have small parts throughout, and Adrian Brody and the Wes Anderson stock company. But then we also get Maya Hawke, and Margot Robbie, and replacing Bill Murray, Tom Hanks, who is incredible.
Of course.
I think I prefer Tom Hanks into that kind of role than Bill Murray.
Interesting.
Tom Hanks also giving very big my dad energy in this movie. It's very, very good and very, very, very heartfelt. And it is about aliens and about our place in the universe and about the nature of creation and creating art. And it's also very much about lockdown and the pandemic, but filtered through this beautiful, wonderful lens. And it's all primarily set in the Southwest, and it strongly features chili and Tabasco sauce and pickles. And I was like, representation!
Listener, if you don't know that reference, it's because in an early episode of the show, I had to cut out like 45 minutes of an episode where Drew and I just talked about pickles and hot sauce for 45 minutes. And then there was like a whole debate about whether or not we should release the pickle cut. So that's where we are.
I still think we should release the pickle cut.
I love Wes Anderson so much. I didn't see Isle of Dogs. I think that might be the only one I haven't seen. But
You're fine.
Yeah, that's what I've told. He's just such a visionary. I mean, he's such a singular filmmaker. I get annoyed when people don't like him or just... First of all, I think people who don't like Wes Anderson are just mean people with no happiness in their lives, first of all. Second of all, when people dismiss him as just being slight or like a maker of elaborate dollhouses, I think that really belies how sad his movies are and how like deep they are. They're very sad and melancholy and about real feelings. And I just don't think that that's a criticism that lands with me. Not to mention all the really dumb ones. Like I've seen people say that he's a fascist and things like that. It's like, I don't know where you're getting that from. It seems like you have an agenda that's on you.
People love to be like, Wes Anderson's a racist and a fascist, and you're like, he's objectively not. Like, and they're like, there's no people of color in his movies, and you're like, have you seen his movies?
This one, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, Jeffrey Wright gives maybe his best performance ever in Asteroid City, after he gave one of his best performances ever in French Dispatch. So
I love him so much.
Highly recommend. My mother is one of the people that, like, for years loathed Wes Anderson movies, because I would be renting them from Blockbuster, and I remember being so excited as a kid when Life Aquatic came out, wanting to see it as like a child of a scuba instructor who loved Owen Wilson and Bill Murray. I was like, I need to see this movie. And my parents were like, it sucks, it's bad, don't watch it. And then Darjeeling Limited came out, and my mom rented it from Blockbuster and watched it and was like, it sucks, it's bad, don't watch it. And then, like, I went with her to see Fantastic Mr. Fox, and she, like, hated it, was, like, angry after.
Crazy.
And then when Moonrise Kingdom was a big deal, I remember just going myself to seeing it in theaters and being like, I loved it, fuck y'all. She watched it with, like, my stepfather and his kids, after it, like, came out on rental. And I just remember her response after seeing it was, she was like, it was cute, but I don't know, that man, he's going to get called up on charges one of these days. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, there's way too many young kids in that movie. I feel uncomfortable about it. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
That's like,
but then she adored Grand Budapest Hotel. So,
which is a great movie, and like,
which is a great movie.
I mean, that's like the kind of shit that people used to say about Mr. Rogers before he passed away. It was like, he likes little kids too much, and like these nefarious like allegations against one of the kindest people who ever lived, you know. And so,
it's
not that Wes
bizarre.
Anderson is Mr. Rogers, but I will say I get that. You know, he is a Gen Xer, actually, but he did really create the entire millennial aesthetic.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
His aesthetic got washed down to, like, Target. And so it's like that monologue from Devil Wears Prada about the fashion industry. You know, like, Yves Saint Laurent creates this, like, blue color that then gets filtered down to, like, TJ Maxx over the span of years. Like, that's what happened to Wes Anderson and the millennial aesthetic that now we call chuggy. But he's moved beyond that. And it's not his fault that the whole world ripped him off, and he is a visionary, and he's doing something completely different now, so you don't have to be mad about that or sick of it.
Mm-hmm. All you have to do is go to your local theater and plop down $12 or whatever and go see Asteroid City.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Anyway, speaking of theatrical experiences, a new theater has just opened in Los Angeles, and it is my duty to partake. So Vidiot's was a video store on the west side that started in 1985 and ran up until like 6 years ago or something like that. Founded by women, like notoriously celebrated for their like cult section and like renting on VHS and DVD and all that kind of stuff. And when they went away, it was very, very sad. but with the help of a lot of donations and the founder of Annapurna Pictures, uh, they have opened the Vidiot's Theater in Eagle Rock,
Ugh,
California,
I
which
can't
is
wait to
like
go.
5 minutes from me.
Yeah.
And it's both a rep house and a video rental store in the heart of Eagle Rock on the east side. So first of all, east side winning over west side once a fucking again,
Yeah.
all the time. And I went in their second week because they showed Repo Man.
Oh, I saw they
Uh,
were showing that. Yeah.
and I've been wanting to go since they opened. I've been trying to find like the right reason. They showed the Muppet movie and a lot of stuff that was exciting, but like the times didn't really work out. But then they showed Repo Man last night, and I was like, fuck yeah, we're going. Bought tickets, went. It is so beautiful, so charming. A friend of mine that I used to work with at the Lemley Theaters back when I worked there is now managing
Hmm.
Anna, friend of the show, BJ
Harmony, right?
Colangelo's wife and the co-host of This Ends at Prom. Harmony Colangelo is the bartender. It is the fucking best. They've got an original like photo booth that like shoots on film.
Oh my gosh.
That's so beautiful and precious. It's such a great space. It's so big. It is like I think bigger than the New Beverly, even significantly better than what like Cinefamily and all that kind of stuff was.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's also a micro cinema in between the video store and the main theater. It is incredible. I
I can't
cannot
wait
recommend it
to.
highly enough. And watching it with an audience full of East Side punks and queers
Hmm.
to watch Repo Man, where like everyone was quoting
Incredible.
along like it was a Rocky Horror Picture Show, was heaven.
Yeah. Well, I've just got back from a film festival. I was at Portland Horror Fest.
Why
Where
were you at Portland Horror Fest, Josh?
my short film He Watches was included in the shorts program, and I won an award.
Whoa!
Thank you. I can't reach it right
We're gonna
now.
multiply that clapping afterwards to make it
Yeah,
sound a lot more
yeah.
thunderous.
I can't reach the trophy, but it is rad. It's like a giant black metal centipede.
It's so cool.
It's really cool. But I saw a lot of great stuff. And the one thing that I wanted to talk about, I saw this feature by a young filmmaker whose name is Alice Mayo McKay or Mackay, I don't know which, but she's a teenage neurodivergent trans filmmaker from Australia. And I saw her movie T Blockers, and I just was sort of blown away by the talent there. I mean, this is like a teenage girl who's making her third movie. I didn't I haven't made one feature length movie and I'm 40. I was gonna say I didn't make my first movie until I was like, oh wait, I still haven't. I just thought it was so incredible to see that. The movie has like such energy and spirit, and it's fast and funny, and it was a really crowd pleaser. It was at Salem Horror Fest when I was there as well, but I didn't get to see it there. So I just wanted to call that out because I think that this girl is going to be like really a big name by the time she's, I don't know, 30 or something. Because she's really on the path. It's a really cool movie.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's such a fucking talent.
Yeah.
And I'm just like both so excited and so outrageously jealous.
I'm so jealous. I'm like quaking with jealousy.
Man, the short films that I made as a teenager will be buried in a landfill by me. So no one can see them.
Yeah. And then I saw something else that was really cool, something old. And it was a TV movie of all things. And I had heard of this for many years and just had never gotten around to it. But I watched Dark Night of the Scarecrow, a TV movie from 1981. And it really scared me. I was really scared. Yes. It's like very creepy. And I don't know if I was just feeling vulnerable, but it made me very, very emotional because it is based around, it's like a small town, and there is a developmentally disabled man who is wrongfully accused of a crime he didn't commit and is like murdered vigilante style. And when he's murdered, he's like, he's got the mentality of a child. So he's running from these people with guns, and he hides inside of a scarecrow. And so when they find him, there's a close up of his big terrified eyes inside of a scarecrow eye. And that image, it's like the image from Dark Crystal with the crack, or not Dark Crystal, from Black Christmas with the crack in the doorway. It was very similar to that, and it scared the shit out of me. And so then they kill him, and suddenly this scarecrow starts to appear at night, and all of the vigilante people who hunted him down start to disappear. So it is like the least slasher movie ever, because it was made for TV, so you don't get any gore or anything like that, and it kind of cuts away from the violence, but it has a lot of really creepy images like that. And it also, just that setup is so, it makes you infuriated, and it makes you sad. And it's so good. I loved it so much. It's on Shudder right now.
I really, really need to watch it. I've heard about it for years now, and I've always been like, I don't know if I would enjoy that. Some kind of scarecrow podunk movie. I don't think that's for me. But every single person that recommends it is like, it's genuinely incredible. It's super scary. I remember like seeing like a DVD of it years ago at like Reckless Records in Chicago with like a pull quote on it from Vincent Price. Talking about how much he loved the movie, and I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, it was meant to be like a theatrical release, and so I think they sold it to CBS somehow, but in that deal they didn't really change anything in the script, so it has the feeling of a theatrical release, except that it just kind of cuts away from violence a lot of the time. And yeah, it's really good. Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, I don't know what else to say about it. I loved it.
I really need to see it.
Yeah. So, shall we get on to it?
Yes. Let me go pee on a stick and find out if what movie we're watching.
Well, you're getting a blue plus sign, because last week we watched Drusilla's favorite movie, Carnival of Souls, and this week we are watching my favorite movie. This is my favorite movie of all time. It is, of course, 1968, directed by Roman Polanski, Rosemary's Baby.
You're pregnant. La 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 la.
Are you aware that the Bradford had rather an unpleasant reputation around the turn of the century?
Awful things happen in every apartment house. She seems so happy and full of... She said wonderful things about you and your husband. This is for you from Roman and me. Sometimes I think they're too friendly and helpful. Guy, I have a pain. I'm so afraid baby's gonna die. Rosemary, pain like that is a warning that something isn't right. They're not setting foot in this apartment ever again. What about what's fair to me?
There are plots against people, aren't there? Well, there's one against me and my baby.
If you say anything more about witches or witchcraft, you're forced to take
La 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 la.
Yeah, I was ready for that one.
I love this movie so much. It's perfect to me. Now, I guess we do have to do our like upfront thing about Roman Polanski. We did this on the episode about the
We
Tenant.
love Roman Polanski. We approve everything he's ever done.
Greatest filmmaker of all time.
We would like to shake his hand. If you'd like to come to the United States of America for a handshake, we would love to have you.
Roman, nothing will happen to you when you get off the plane. Other than a handshake from Drusilla and me at LAX.
I certainly will not be wearing handcuffs.
So, listener, you, I'm sure, know this, but we have to do it for legal reasons, basically. Or lest the moral mob come for us. Roman Polanski raped a 13-year-old girl in 1977.
At Jack Nicholson's house.
He fled the country rather than be, subject to the laws, and has been living abroad in Europe ever since, free and making films still, in fact, and has never returned to the United States, because if he does, he'll get arrested and go to prison, where he belongs. He deserves to be, because he's a monster and he sucks as a person.
Yep.
As a filmmaker, he's pretty great. Rosemary's Baby is a perfect movie.
He's a fucking banger. It's almost as good as The Tenant. It's really good.
I don't want to get into that again.
I just like poking your buttons. They're both incredible films.
Yes.
And yet we leave out the genius films like Repulsion and Cul-de-sac and
Chinatown. My boyfriend's favorite
Macbeth.
movie. Yeah.
Oh my god, both of your favorite movies are Polanski movies. What a cute household.
So this movie came out in 1968. It is an adaptation of the hit Ira Levin novel of the same name. It stars Mia Farrow, Ruth Gordon, who won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, John Cassavetes. What a great movie. Where do we start with this one?
Okay. So I can get into my history with Rosemary's Baby, but it's your favorite. At what point did this movie enter your life, Josh?
Actually, quite late. I was probably 30, 31 when I saw this. I lived in Brooklyn. I was an adult. And, it's because when I was younger, I didn't like movies that were from before like the 70s. So I didn't watch anything from the 50s or 60s. And really, at that time in my life, it took me a long time to get there because I was a dum-dum who thought that like movies before my time were boring, which was wrong, obviously. So yeah, I was like 30 when I saw this.
Damn.
Yeah.
And like, what led you to finally like popping your green cherry?
I think actually it was because I was looking for more movies that were like, let's scare Jessica to death. So which is a weird way to get to Rosemary's Baby, I know, but like I grew up on that movie. It got a re-release in the early 2010s, and so I had rented it from the video store and loved it, and was like then on the hunt for more 70s movies with that vibe, it's like totally my favorite subgenre still is like boring 70s horror arty movies, which is why we have this podcast. So like on the search for more movies like that, I found Rosemary's Baby, which is kind of like one of the like the templates for that kind of movie, really.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Rosemary's Baby was made in 1967, released in 1968.
Yeah,
but it feels like a 70s movie.
It does. Yeah, it's very ahead of its time.
It does not feel like, if you think about like, because it's so New York based and New York centric. If you think about the New York movies that look like it that were made in the 60s with like Jane Fonda of like Someday in the Park and stuff like that, they are like so radically different. This movie feels like an atom bomb compared to that.
This is kind of one of those 60s, what they call the new Hollywood movies of the 60s, when like the film studios were struggling, and so they were giving European directors a shot and like doing different things, like Bonnie and Clyde as part of that oeuvre.
The rise of like Peter Bogdanovich and Easy Rider.
Totally. All the movies that led to 70s cinema being so great, basically. So this is one of those, yeah.
And, I mean, production-wise, a few things should be mentioned. First of all, this is one of the first films to be produced by Robert Evans, the, like, youngest head of a studio ever. Good old Bob Evans, that cokehead fiend, who would, go on to produce things like The Godfather and The Conversation and Chinatown and be, like, one of the most celebrated producers of the 1970s until he was excised from Paramount at the late end of the 70s, early 80s, where he then had a mental breakdown and came back in the 1990s with his comeback film Sliver with Sharon Stone.
Love that movie, first of all. Second of all, if you're interested in Robert Evans, there's a great book and documentary about him and his life and his work called The Kid Stays in the Picture, which I can't recommend highly enough. There's some great Bob Evans stories on the set of Rosemary's Baby, too.
Mm-hmm. There's also a great Documentary Now episode with Bill Hader that parodies Robert Evans. Really? It's like a two-parter. It's called an Oscar Bridesmaid, Never a Bride, or something like that. It's so goddamn funny.
Yeah.
But Rosemary's Baby, he was brought to Paramount not by Robert Evans, but by William Castle.
Mm-hmm.
The schlock horror gimmick maestro behind House on Haunted Hill and The Tingler and the original 13 Ghosts, who was known as like, the Kmart Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Who his movies weren't as good, but his gimmicks were incredible. And you would go to see a bad Vincent Price movie just to get buzzed in the ass.
By by a device planted in your seat by William
Or
Castle.
to go see an awesome, like, spooky little chiller for teenagers and have a skeleton fly overhead.
Exactly.
Or have a nurse waiting outside. Or have a little, like, blue glasses to see the ghosts on the screen.
Yeah.
He was awesome, and he had, like, a run at Columbia Pictures for a long time in the 50s and 60s. And then he got a deal over at Paramount and wanted to try to get more... This was post-Psycho.
Yeah.
Hitchcock was starting to, like, go on his downslope with, like, Topaz and shit. And so William Castle thought that he would, like, try and make something a bit more adult and like, really take the throne. And he had planned Rosemary's Baby. And when Robert Evans read the book and saw it on the slate, he was like, fuck that! I'm getting someone else to do this!
Yeah.
And basically bought William Castle out of the directing role to bring Polanski in. William Castle stayed on as a producer and is in the film in a really fun little cameo.
Yeah.
But Polanski was kind of, like, unheard of in America at the time. This was his first American film. He'd made a handful of art house and horror-esque movies in Europe, like Repulsion with Catherine Deneuve, Knife in the Water, and Cul-de-sac. I think he'd made Fearless Vampire Killers at that point, which was a comedy with Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
But it was a huge fucking gamble.
Yeah.
Mia Farrow was a huge fucking gamble.
Yeah, well, she wasn't the original choice. Like, originally, so in the book, Rosemary is sort of a full-figured, Midwestern girl next door. The character's from Omaha. She says that in the movie. And so that's kind of what they were looking for at first. And some other people that were considered before Mia Farrow were like Patty Duke, Goldie Hawn. He thought about his wife, Sharon Tate. But then they thought of Mia Farrow because she had been in Peyton Place. So she was kind of a name from that. And then she was married to Frank Sinatra, which actually rose her profile quite a bit. And that marriage ended on the set of this movie. Frank Sinatra didn't want her to do the movie. He served her divorce papers in front of the cast and crew on set. She asked to be released from the movie, and so Bob Evans showed her an hour-long rough cut of the movie and said to her, "Fuck Sinatra, you go get yourself an Oscar." And so she finished the movie. Like, what a shitty thing to do to somebody, to just serve them papers like that.
It's because he wanted her to be in his movie, The Detective.
Ugh, he's the worst.
He's the worst. Also, she was underage when they got together.
Oh my god.
A theme
She has
for more Mia Farrow's life. Google her in the name Alan Woody or something like that.
What a crazy... I did not know that. Yeah, she's wonderful in the movie. Ruth Gordon is so wonderful in the movie. She did win an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, and very well deserved.
Deservedly so, yeah.
Synopsis-wise, I mean, who hasn't seen this? But just in case, Rosemary Woodhouse is a young woman. Her husband, Guy, is an actor. They live in Manhattan. They rent an apartment building. Their older sort of mentor, former landlord friend, Hutch, tells them that the building has a dark history. It's called the Bramford. She immediately moves in. They want to have a family, and she meets the nosy older neighbors next door, the Castevets, who take a shine to her, and they just sort of invade her life. And when she does become pregnant, it starts out as a happy thing, and slowly but surely she starts to realize that there's a plot against her and her baby, which of course is true. Anything else to add to that or change? Or
I mean, I would say, even though he labels himself an actor, he's only done some commercials in Luther and Nobody Loves an Albatross.
Yeah, he's been in Luther and Nobody Loves an Albatross and a bunch of commercials. That's like always Rosemary. Like, it's so sweet that Rosemary is so proud of Guy. Actually.
She has his resume, like, down pat.
Yeah.
But it's both a little, like, sweet, but you also kind of get the implication that maybe he's drilled it into her.
Yeah, and that he is struggling. Yeah.
That he is struggling. But he starts to, after he meets the Castevets, they hit it off. He starts to do really well. I mean, that other actor who was up for a part, who's played by Tony Curtis, Donald Bumgarner, just went blind all of a sudden. So he got the part.
Yeah, so the first time they have dinner with the Castevets, there's a really interesting... So here's a a thing I appreciated this time. I've seen this movie probably a dozen times, but the thing that really stood out to me for the first time this watch is how cleverly Roman Polanski, from the very beginning, makes you understand how observant Rosemary is. So they're touring the apartment building, and you are noticing through her noticing it, how the elevator is hard to align with the floor, how thin the walls are. When she's in the apartment for the first time with the former tenant's belongings in it, she sees a piece of paper on which is written, "I can no longer associate myself, ... She notices that an armoire has been moved to block a closet door. So she's noticing everything, which sets us up for the idea that, for understanding why she thinks that there's a plot against her. It's because she's an incredibly observant person. She notices every tiny detail. So that's how it gets under her skin. And she's like, oh, is this really happening, or am I just doing a thing?
And this is a great way to set you up as an audience member, start looking at things.
Yeah.
All the time. I remember the first time I watched this movie, I was like, what the fuck is up with that closet? What the fuck is up with that closet? The entire movie.
It's such a great reveal. I mean, this movie really does reward your careful attention. This is not a movie to look away or like look at your phone during or anything like that.
So much is done in subtle gestures that are like, that happen like in the background of scenes. So rewatching it for the podcast, I was like, okay, I've seen it a million times. I'll put it on, whatever. But I got some work to do. So, my partner and I were like, okay, well, let's put it on like while I'm in my studio working a little bit. And then like by 15 minutes, I had like stopped working, was sitting on the couch, and it was just like laser focused because it just sucks you the fuck in. A and B, in the first scene where they go to meet Roman and Minnie Castevet, played by Ruth Gordon, and Sidney Blackmore does not get enough credit for his performance in that as well. John Cassavetes is like bemoaning going there in the lead up because he's like, why the fuck did you agree to do this? We're going to be going there all the time. It's going to suck so much. Oh my God. And they have like an awkward dinner together where they're like bemoaning the Pope coming to town. Sick.
Yeah.
But then like Rosemary is like taken off to the kitchen with Ruth Gordon for a minute.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up. Go ahead.
When she comes back, Ruth Gordon's like, you stop like bothering Guy. He's so bored. But John Cassavetes is like leaned in to Sidney Blackburn, looks like rapt. And it like as soon as they get back to their apartment, he's like, I want to go back. I want to talk to them more.
Exactly. I'm so glad you brought that up because that's why I brought up her careful observational skills, because there's a shot that never really registered for me until this watch, and it's when she's helping Minnie wash the dishes in the kitchen, and she looks over to her right, and there's just an empty shot of it. There's an empty door frame, and you see cigarette smoke filling that frame.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I was like, oh, this is when the men are making their deal. Like, this is the moment right now that's happening in the other room. And you get that motif a lot of Rosemary being in one room and other people being in another room and just getting a shot of like an empty door frame. And it kind of underlines how much men are making decisions for her off screen. You know what I mean? Like, she's in one room, other people are determining her fate in another room, and that happens all the time in this. But it really creeped me out for the first time. I was like, oh, they're in there talking about the deal.
Yeah, they're talking about her body. They're talking about what they're going to do. And there's similar shots later in the movie where like she's like so ill and pale and like gaunt while she's pregnant, which is so stressful.
Awful.
Of
and
an
losing
image.
weight as a pregnant woman.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
But she's sitting on the bed and like the camera kind of pulls out and like frames her through the doorway as she like picks up the phone to call Hutch. And you only see her back, like, and the phone on the bed, but her face is cut off by the wall. So fucking
Such
striking.
a well-composed
so powerful.
movie. And the editing is so good too. It edits really quickly. It edits kind of like late into a scene or early out of a scene. So the pace of it is just like kind of relentless. It just like clips along. The scenes feel so brief. And because of that, it's so easy to watch. It's like drinking a soda or something, just like easy as could be.
It's so easy to watch. And then after it was over, I looked at the runtime and I was like, that was over 2 hours? Like,
yeah.
Jesus, it's super long, but it does not feel long at all.
No.
It feels so quick, so easy. And if you've seen it a bunch of times, you know the rhythm to it. You know, like, what's gonna come up. And it allows you to, like, live in the scenes a little bit longer and look elsewhere.
Yeah.
It really, really lingers with you. There was also, spoilers. This movie's 50 fucking years old.
Yeah.
Get over yourself.
Yeah.
But so Guy Woodhouse has made a deal with Roman Castevet, who is really the son of the, like, Dark Witch architect
Of the Bramford, which is
of the Bramford, who has changed his name, to have Satan impregnate his wife to deliver unto the world
as the Antichrist.
The Antichrist, and in exchange, Guy Woodhouse will have a better acting career.
Yeah. Which, who wouldn't make that deal?
Honestly, one of the most disturbing scenes of the entire film, Ruth Gordon comes over and delivers a chocolate mousse, which she calls chocolate mouse.
Yeah.
That is laced with some kind of a barbiturate to make Rosemary pass out, or some kind of, like, herbal something from her garden, which has a chalky undertaste.
Yeah, once again, Rosemary notices. It does not go unnoticed by Rosemary. And again, a man tells her, just eat it. It's fine.
She's negged by her and gaslit by her husband is not noticing. And then there's an extended dream sequence, which we get many of in this movie, which are gorgeous and brilliant. And the way they play with audio separation.
It's so good. Because it's exactly how
ungodly.
it feels to be either drugged or having a lucid dream. So what's happening is she's hearing the audio from a real life conversation, but then over top of it is her dream is layered on. So Minnie's voice next door becomes the voice of a nun in her dream and stuff like that. It's very strange and ugh.
It really calls to mind a lot of the kind of tricks used by Buñuel in, like, Viridiana and Belle de Jour, just a few years previously. But the next morning is the scariest scene in the whole film to me.
Awful.
She wakes up after this night of these horrifying dreams, demonic images, and super weird shit. And she's naked in bed. She looks and she has scratch marks down her back. And she's kind of freaked out. And John Cassavetes steps out of the bathroom, jovially getting ready for the day, and he sees her looking at the scratches down her back, and he's like, "Sorry, babe, I already clipped my fingernails. You don't have to tell me."
Yeah.
And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Well, it was going to be baby making night. I didn't want to miss it, and you'd passed out." So his cover story for "We had the devil impregnate you" is that I raped you.
Yeah, and it is in fact marital rape, and I don't know to what degree that would have played as shocking in 1960. I mean, I don't wonder how shocking that would be in 1968. It feels like to that audience in that time, maybe it's more questionable to them than it is to us. For us, it's just so horrifying. I wonder, like, for instance, I wonder how much that divided people by gender in a movie theater in 1968. If you're a man, are you like shrugging at that, and you're a woman and you're horrified because, of course, you know what Rosemary's feeling? I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things why that scene's so fucking great is that, like, it acts as, like, a really good stepping stone into what's coming and signals the audience differently.
Yeah.
Men in 1968, unfortunately, probably
like shrug.
Would be like, sure, fine, whatever. Maybe she is crazy. Until things progress further, and it would take them a little bit longer. Some people in the audience would probably just be unsettled.
Yeah.
Would not know why they would feel unsettled about that. They would probably feel like, well, yeah, sure, I guess. But that's kind of weird, maybe? I don't know. And then a lot of women in the audience would probably be, like, immediately horrified, but also not really be able to vocalize a lot of that. But it, like...
Today,
that's the whole
like,
movie in a nutshell, is that fucking scene, is whether you want to play devil's advocate, the kind of, like, is it in her head, or to quote Rosemary, is it not a dream? Is it really happening?
Yeah.
Uh,
Because, if you're somebody like us who watches a lot of old genre movies, you will notice that in the 70s and 80s, movies were full of rape scenes, just full of them, as if they were nothing. And it does give me the sense that like, wasn't shocking to people in the 70s, the way that it's shocking to us.
I think it was, but I think it was shocking in a different way. I think it's not an on-screen rape. It's an implied marital rape by dialogue.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would go over some audiences' heads in 1968, but also like we were only a few years away from the rise of rape revenge films.
Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's like those movies from the 70s are just full of rapes, and I just have to wonder why is all. Like, does it
shock
not
factor?
shock
I think they were made too
the shock is
shocking.
the point. Okay.
Yeah. I think, Straw Dogs, Clockwork Orange, all those kinds of movies that came out 3 years after this,
Right.
did that to, for a certain extent, Peckinpah and Kubrick aside, did that to capitalize on that. As the production code ended around the time that this movie was made, and Easy Rider came out, and the Hays Code was like dead in a ditch,
Finally.
they were so excited at all the things they could do on screen, which included violence and sexuality. When you shove those two things together, you get sexual violence. And that was a knee-jerk reaction to that. But not all depictions of sexual violence on screen in the mid-century are bad.
No, not at all.
Are promoting almost none of them are promoting sexual violence.
No,
Mondo Keyhole promotes sexual violence. Fuck that movie.
I've never seen that.
Rebel.
I didn't mean to suggest that. I just wondered what the difference in audiences is, because it feels like the understanding was that kind of content would make people keep watching or bring people to watch. And I feel like today's audiences would actually just shut the movie off. More likely, you know what I mean? Like, we feel very different.
Contemporary audience are a lot more sensitive to such subjects.
Yeah.
Which is why I think Rosemary's Baby. Also, like, a lot of those movies at the time were more exploitation movies that weren't getting like prestige discussions and wider releases, other than A Clockwork Orange. But that was a whole kind of different can of worms. But I Spit on Your Grave was not represented at the Oscars the year it came out, like Rosemary's Baby was.
True.
But that, because Rosemary's Baby is playing those ideas a lot more subtly, in a way that's more palatable to a wide audience, but it's still, like, shocking in a different way. I think the shock that you get from that scene and from the whole of Rosemary's Baby is entirely different and longer lasting than the shock that you get from, say, something like Straw Dogs.
Right.
But again, for modern audiences, it's totally different. While I was watching this with my partner, she kept being like, it is fucking insane that this movie is entirely from a woman's perspective and is entirely about female body autonomy and the horrible things that men do to women and references rape so much. She was like, it is insane that this movie was made by this man.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, it is. But you also have to think about how many movies like this he made around this time. Repulsion is exactly about the exact same stuff. The Tenant would also be about a lot of the same ideas. And then even in the 90s, Death and the Maiden with Sigourney Weaver is about a woman getting revenge on her rapist and tying him up while her husband is right there being like, I don't think it's him. I don't think it's him. Honey, like, you've got the wrong guy.
Right.
It is so fascinating.
It is fascinating. Do you think that there's any degree to which his work is him trying to, like, atone for some sort of dark character element that he has within himself? I mean, he is a predator, and he makes these movies, and I wonder if it's him trying to, like, I don't know, understand something about himself or repudiate something about himself or atone for it, or if it's, like, what is the balance between who he is as a person and predator versus these really incredible feminist films that he's made?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like him getting out his demons in a way that is like accessible, but you also have to remember, like, he was a child in internment camps
Right.
and concentration camps in
Yeah.
World War II, where he watched his mother die.
Yeah.
And then was a refugee for years. And then was able to start making movies. And then, Rosemary's Baby marks a like huge demarcation point and like an end of a certain part of his career, because Knife in the Water, Repulsion, Cul-de-sac, and this kind of all have a specific voice to them and deal with certain topics of sexuality, of interpersonal relationships, and of women's relationships to men, both in like The Stranger in Knife in the Water, who promotes such a like sexual and violent kind of fear and anxiety and seduction in Knife in the Water, and then Catherine Deneuve's like stripped down fear of everything in Repulsion, and even the like sexual ambiguity in something like Cul-de-sac, which is a bit more queer, it comes to a head in Rosemary's Baby, which is so about female body autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
And then about a year after it was made, Sharon Tate would be murdered by the Manson family.
Mm-hmm.
And then following that, his movies got a lot more violent, a lot more angsty, and a lot more male-focused. That was followed by Macbeth, which is one of the goriest Shakespeare adaptations ever made,
Mm-hmm.
and Chinatown, which is where he became friends with Jack Nicholson, which we know how that friendship ended. And The Tenant, which still falls in the trilogy with Repulsion and Rosemary's Baby as being a female-centric movie about anxiety. But it's done through like male and genderqueer lens that is different, and it's visually different than the other two. And then, of course, after that was
the incident.
Rape.
Yeah. The incident. I should call it that. It's not an incident, it's a rape. Yeah.
It's very fascinating. It's very disturbing. And of course, what were the first movie he made after the rape? A children's movie with Walter Matthau called Pirates.
Oh my god, I forgot entirely that movie existed, and I don't even know if I knew that was a Roman Polanski movie.
Yeah. And then that was followed by Tess of the D'Urbervilles, or just Tess, which was Sharon Tate's favorite book, and it was like a whole thing. And it was like an ode to her. But it's so fucked up, and it's so strange. But it's, again, like, people are not one thing.
Yeah.
And was it like a broken clock can be right twice a day?
Yeah.
But like Roman Polanski's movies say a lot about identity and female identity and anxiety in the 1960s and in the 1970s. And they come from a real point of anxiety and outsiderness that he felt at the time.
Yeah.
But you also have to take into account that there's multiple authors to a story.
Well,
this is based on a book by Ira Levin.
Yeah, exactly. That brings up the question of like art versus artist and whether or not you can separate them. And I think the question behind that question that people don't often ask because it's kind of impolite is like, how good is the work? Right? Like, This movie is historical in its greatness. It influenced the genre. It won Oscars. To your point, it's based on a very popular novel by somebody who, to our knowledge, was not a rapist. This has 150 people working on it that are not Roman Polanski, who, to our knowledge, are not rapists, including the work of Mia Farrow and Ruth Gordon and William Castle and all of these incredible craftspeople. So,
note, Robert Everett's not included in that list. Because we just can't be sure.
We just don't know. So anyway, I don't have an answer for that question either. It's easy for me to cancel Woody Allen movies because I never liked them. I don't like them, but I do love this movie. So it's a trickier question for me as a lover of this movie.
Part of the problem too with Woody Allen is that they are written by Woody Allen, they are directed by Woody Allen, and they frequently star Woody Allen or
it's
a
harder
Woody
to
Allen
separate
surrogate.
artists.
So much of it is autobiographical or is in some way about the man
who's
making it. Whereas Rosemary's Baby is Ira Levin's story.
Yep.
Again, the author of Stepford Wives and Death Trap. Like, you can absolutely see what strands of Ira Levin are in the film. It's so much of the template of this movie is Ira Levin. You can also see what Polanski brings to the film, and it is exactly what we were talking about earlier in the framing, the editing, the execution, and the performances. Bringing in the humor in Ruth Gordon, getting a more gaunt look for Mia Farrow, and then framing and shooting the film the way he does, with the more subtle gestures by Sidney Blackmer and John Cassavetes played as second and third reads and scenes. That's the work of Roman Polanski. That's what he's doing to the story. So he's not the one providing the like written commentary on.
He's the interpretive artist and not a generative artist. And I have to say, like, I don't think this movie could be improved. There's not a single shot that I think could be taken out or replaced or done better. I think it just doesn't miss a single beat, and I think that that's very rare.
And I think there's few other filmmakers other than Roman Polanski who could have made this movie as incredible as it is at the time. I mean, the only other person I can think of who would have done this movie as well as this is maybe Frank Perry, who had made The Swimmer and would go on to make Mommy Dearest. But he had also made like he would go on to make Play It As It Lays as well. And, like, it's such incredible, tender films about interpersonal relationships in the 1960s, thrillers and not. But he doesn't have the anxious thriller edge that Polanski's movies have. That it's like Gossamer. It's really hard to pin down what it is about a Polanski movie that feels that way. And it's there in Chinatown, which is a film noir, as much as it is in Rosemary's Baby, as much as it is in like Frantic with Harrison Ford. Yeah. It's bizarre, but it's a certain amount of authorship over the craft of filmmaking. Yeah. Which is super hard to work on. But again, Fucker learned from the Polish Film School, which was a communist-led program to kind of promote like intelligent and artistic filmmaking, to promote communist ideology and propaganda. It's the same thing that was happening in Russia at the time, and that's why like Milos Forman and Andrei Tarkovsky and Andrzej Wajda are like some of the greatest filmmakers of all time, because they were taught to make and shoot and think in a completely different way, because they were made to promote cinema as an ideological art. Which is not the way that Hollywood filmmakers are trained, even remotely. I don't know.
I like to think of this as a American folk horror movie. Folk horror, as it exists in the UK, the most famous folk horror, is always about secret pagans, because it's the idea that, like, in rural villages, people are still practicing these old, forgotten religions, and that's frightening. We don't have that history in the United States. We are a nation, not to speak of the indigenous people, but the colonialist history of America is one that begins with Christianity. So we don't have that pagan background. So for us, our folk horror movies are always about secret Satanists, and it goes back to the Puritans and like signing a deal with the devil. So that's what we've got here. We've got secret Satanists. This is like one of my favorite subgenres of movie. I love Rosemary's Baby. I love Race with the Devil. I love any American movie where the bad guys are like secretly a Satanist cult. Hereditary is one of these. I just love it.
But I realized while watching this that the narrative structure of this movie and the kind of folk horror nature of this movie ended up being kind of stolen whole hawk by Dario Argento.
Oh yeah, totally.
In Suspiria and Inferno, both of which are about women who end up stuck in certain buildings and then find out that the architect and secret witches who still live in the building. And it's like Inferno is like exactly Rosemary's Baby without a pregnancy.
I would love to have this copied 100 more times, because I will never get sick of this trope. I just love it.
And there's so many ways of doing it. I mean, I don't know. It's so effective. Yeah. And I love anything that is so much about a scary building and secret passageways. This movie is so like gothic and arch,
Yes.
and it's like it's a gaslight narrative. It's like this could have been like made alongside those Roger Corman, Edgar Allan Poe movies with Vincent Price that were made in like the same year, which are like stuffy collars and in big castles and about ill invalid women and like ghostly figures like walking through walls and secret passages because, oh no, there's a cabal of witches like in like big robes downstairs. It's doing all of that same stuff. It's just putting them in like nylon and rayon with like garish colors.
Yeah.
And like Brooklyn accents and having Ruth Gordon like rub away a knife mark on the floor.
Yeah.
Which makes it more real and like scarier.
It brings it into the modern day that this is Manhattan. And also we should mention for legal reasons again, no, just because we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's, that the Bramford is really the Dakota, which is one of the most famous apartment buildings in Manhattan. It is, of course, where John Lennon was shot and killed. That's where he lived with Yoko Ono, where Yoko Ono still lives, where Bela Lugosi lived. Beautiful apartment building.
And is where the series Only Murders in the Building is based off of.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the most famous buildings in New York City. And
it's
is
very beautiful.
Incredible.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Let's play Have They Seen It, the game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. I've got a weird one. Ruth Gordon is in this movie, of course. She's also one of her last movies, if not her very last movie, is a really shitty 80s new wave musical that I love called Voyage of the Rock Aliens.
I did not know she was in Voyage of the Rock Aliens.
She plays
I need to see that.
Kooky sheriff of a small town. And Pia Zadora is the star of that movie, an actress who no one can make happen for any amount of money, despite trying really hard. And Pia Zadora, at the top of the movie, does a duet with Jermaine Jackson, Michael Jackson's brother. Do you think Jermaine Jackson has seen Rosemary's Baby? Or any of the Jacksons? Let's go through the famous
Let's just run down the Jackson 5.
Let's just do LaToya, Janet, Michael, Jermaine.
Okay. I'm going to say Jermaine Jackson has seen it.
Okay.
I'm going to say LaToya Jackson has seen it.
She's into psychics and stuff, so she's definitely seen this.
Yeah. I'm going to say Janet Jackson hasn't. Janet Jackson strikes me as the kind of person who's like, I don't like horror movies.
Totally.
It's not for me.
Totally.
Michael Jackson definitely saw it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I think you're right about all of this. Okay. That covers the Jacksons. The Jacksons, like Roman Polanski, are like sort of dicey territory. So best to
I
move
wonder
on.
why. Oh my fucking god. Okay. So Ruth Gordon also did so Rosemary's Baby and Harold and Maude really like kicked off her career again late in life. She had been an actress and a screenwriter primarily since like the 1940s and stuff. And these two Robert Evans Paramount movies like put her back, and she became a big cultural, like counterculture figure in the late 60s and early 1970s, and did a lot of movies at the time. And she did a handful of Clint Eastwood movies, even that were called Every Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can, which featured Clint Eastwood as a truck driver, and both Beverly D'Angelo and Sandra Locke. But the big co-star of those movies were a monkey named Clyde, who, when Clint Eastwood would say "left turn, Clyde," would flip off people in a different truck. In Every Which Way But Loose, that monkey was played by a ape named Manus, who would go on to star in Going Ape with Danny DeVito.
Oh my god.
And Cannonball Run 2. So my question is, do you think that Manus, the ape, has seen Rosemary's Baby?
I imagine. Is it like the Muppetsy thing, like where this ape like went to premieres and stuff and like was in fashion magazines and
I feel like, did Manus' trainer be like, okay, you're gonna be working with Ruth Gordon tomorrow. We need to like bone up so that you're familiar with her, and showed Manus like Harold and Maude and Rosemary's Baby.
I just had an image of like Manus and Ruth Gordon between takes on set, like having a cigarette together.
They're the same height.
So I don't think that Manus saw Rosemary's Baby, but I think Ruth Gordon told him about it. Like between takes on set, they had a cigarette together. She and the ape, maybe a martini because it's the 70s, you know.
Oh, you would love it, Roman Polanski. You should work with him sometime. I'll recommend him to you. Yeah. I'm sure there'd be a stellar part for you in The Tenant.
I'm gonna send him a telegram.
Who knows? Maybe there could be a monkey in Chinatown.
There could have been, really.
Honestly, Roman, there could have been a monkey in Chinatown. And
really missed opportunity.
Society's not ready to have that conversation.
So this is a attenuated connection, but thinking of John Cassavetes made me think of, for some reason, has no involvement with this at all, the wonderful 60s movie Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice. Mm-hmm. I think Rosemary's Baby kind of, even though there's a different genres, that movie's like a romantic comedy, they kind of feel like they're in the same universe in some way.
Very much so. They're happening in the same time, yeah.
But progressive late 60s vibe. So I want to know if you think Natalie Wood saw Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, absolutely. As Natalie Wood, a woman married to a man she shouldn't trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
For those who don't know, Natalie Wood drowned in the 1980s while she was on a boat with Christopher Walken and her on and off again husband, Robert Wagner. Anyway.
Yeah. One time, Christopher Walken came up at my house, and it was so funny. I don't remember what the context was, but Joel was like, I'll tell you this, I wouldn't get on a boat with them. Very true.
My favorite theory, and we can cut this for legal reasons if we have to, my favorite theory is that Christopher Walken and Robert Wagner both rumored outside of that closeted individuals were having an affair.
Interesting.
That she tried to leave and freak out, and that she ended up on the other side of the boat. Anyway,
the water.
I think Natalie Wood 100% saw Rosemary's Baby. I think Natalie Wood loved Rosemary's Baby, and that it scared the shit out of her.
I think you're right. This is a very her movie.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, John Cassavetes is so freaking good as Guy Woodhouse in this. He's so hateable that it's hard to forget that John Cassavetes is such an incredible director in his own right and actor, and made, you know, so many great tender masculine characters and stuff like Husbands, and directed such incredible movies like Opening Night and A Woman Under the Influence. But my favorite John Cassavetes movie wasn't directed by John Cassavetes, even though it feels like a John Cassavetes movie. It's Mikey and Nicky with him and Peter Falk, which is one of the greatest films ever made.
I've never seen it.
I highly recommend it. It is streaming on the Criterion Channel and something called Max. I don't know if that's related to HBO Max or something. I don't know. Things are confusing. That film was directed by another icon of the 1960s, like, new wave boom in America, and one half of comedy duo Nichols and May, Elaine May.
Oh.
Who would only make 4 movies in her career. It's still around. And who's also friends with Mia Farrow's other ex-husband, the comedian, who is bad. But, you know, would make A New Leaf, The Heartbreak Kid, with Charles Grodin from Rosemary's Baby.
In his first movie.
And, of course, the delightful comedy Ishtar. Do you think Elaine May has seen Rosemary's Baby?
I imagine so. She was such an insider in the 60s, right? Like, she probably was at the premiere. I mean, kind of like Natalie Wood. I feel like she was so connected to Hollywood at the time that I can't imagine she wouldn't have seen this.
Do you think she liked it?
No. I don't know. I just get that vibe. Don't you?
Yeah, I can see like Elaine May going to like the Pantages premiere of Rosemary's Baby and being like going there with Mike Nichols and some friends and chatting with Cassavetes afterwards. And I can imagine like Cassavetes and Elaine May having a cigarette in the alley afterwards and being like, fuck that piece of shit, and like stabbing those cigarettes into the ground, and both of them being like, so what we're gonna do is gonna be real and none of this hoko magic nonsense. We're gonna have a divorced couple and they're gonna be so goddamn pissed at each other.
There is a whole contingent of people who are wrong and idiotic who think that Rosemary's Baby is actually not a feminist film but a misogynist film. And I don't know what the rationale is.
They would be
so
wrong.
Crazy and wrong. But I feel like Elaine May could have been one of those people early on. You know, like, I don't know why. I don't know anything about her.
I mean, there's a lot of like movies that we like as an audience now in 2023 look at as being like huge landmark feminist movies, Thelma and Louise, Rosemary's Baby, all these kinds of things that at the time feminist critics hated and thought were misogynistic and didn't think did enough for the movement, or were patronizing or pandering because of the time that they were made in. They weren't commenting on the moment. They were commenting on different things, which have stood the test of time and feel more timely.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a different thing.
It's like when we talked about Cruising, right? Like I think Cruising is actually such a great queer film that I can totally understand why in the context of 1980 queer people were angry about it and protested it.
Exactly.
It's just a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this episode of Bloodhouse. If you liked it, please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram. Drusilla, where are you these days?
My website, sisterhidedesign.com, has a bunch of new work up on it, so go check that out. And a lot more new work coming very, very, very soon to fill up your shelves and walls. You can also find me on Letterboxd, Drusilla Adeline or Sister Hyde. You can find me over there very easily. And I'm also on Instagram at Hyde Sister if you'd like to follow along on my Midwestern extravaganza coming up real soon. What about you, Josh? Where are you lurking in the secret passageways and halls of the internet?
I lurk at Joshua Conkle on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. So next week is an interesting one because neither of us have seen this new movie. What is it?
Yeah, so from 2019, a movie that both of us were like, we should see that, and then a pandemic happened and we didn't go see movies. We will be checking out the Riley Keough-led, neon-released chiller. Double entendre there. The Lodge.
Very curious about that one. Okay, see you next week. Bye-bye.